I'm here with Kyle Gordon. You know Kyle, if you've been on Instagram or TikTok in the last 2 years, you've seen Kyle whether you wanted to or not. I personally found you when you did your old timey baseball skit. That was my introduction to you. You have a new song out, "We Will Never Die," and we'll get into the second. So first, I want to ask: do you have any musical? Because you're a comedy musical guy. Do you have what's your music background? Did you sing? Were you a musical theater kid?
Yeah, a lot of people assume I was a musical theater kid because I have a lot of people say I have like theater kid energy, but I really was more just like loving like pop and rock music. So like grew up playing the guitar, not like virtuosically by any means, just putting chords together or whatever. And so started writing songs as a kid, but kind of like what I've done now with combining the comedy and the music, I kind of combine those two things together sort of at the same time. So I've always sort of been doing both,
No, you haven't done a lot of stand up, and that your live show is more a mix of characters and music and stuff. How has your live show been affected by your popularity on social media?
Yeah, it's been really, really cool, and it's been great, the progression. I'm really happy with the progression of the show because, like, when I started, like, if you saw me in, 2018, it would be me and an acoustic guitar in, like, a basement in Brooklyn. Yeah. But as I started releasing the songs and the music and having fully produced versions and, like, having actual fans know the music, the show sort of progressed along with that. So the way I describe it is it used to be a comedy show with music, and now I think of it as like a funny concert. And so on my next tour, like I have a full band. I'm doing like more music venues rather than comedy clubs, standing room. So people are like dancing and moshing along with the songs and stuff. So yeah, it's been really cool, and it's all been for the better because I think like the show now is in like the best place it's ever been.
When it comes to working out your characters, you have these sort of like very specific, like a guy from the 50s who needs change or something. Very specific. How do you workshop these characters out to make sure that they're funny, and B, they're not too mean? Because you can kind of go into that territory too.
Totally. I think it's sort of been, not to use a cliche, but like a 10,000 hours thing in that, like, I started doing comedy in New York in like 2014. So before I ever got online or built any sort of wider audience, again, I was doing those like a lot of improv, a lot of testing characters before then. And yeah, all the really horrible ones, I like to think like I put them on stage in like 2017 and got that out of my system. And so, like it just becomes easier and quicker to write like just stuff that I'm happier with and prouder of now.
Do you prefer working characters out on stage or working characters out over social media to see what the reaction is?
Kind of nowadays social media, because it's more, I don't know. I feel more comfortable and free testing stuff out online and, putting stuff out there and seeing what sticks. Again, as I do more and more and like it becomes easier for me to sort of intuitively spot what's going to work and what doesn't. But I'm still always really surprised, but I do enjoy, putting stuff out, and then I'll see if it works on stage, because the thing I've learned, having done a lot of both, is that something that works on stage doesn't necessarily work online or in other forms of media, and vice versa. Obviously, like stuff that just works online absolutely does not mean that it's gonna work in a live context.
Now, I found one of your first videos I saw was the old timey baseball thing, and you're wearing a White Sox cap. Are you a baseball guy?
I'm more like the idea of baseball. The White Sox hat is because I'm actually out here in LA. I'm from and live in New York, but I was filming a music video for my new album, and it's a parody of like 90s like new metal, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park. So this, like in the video, I'm wearing it like this as like the Fred Dursty type character.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I've sort of the Fred Durst. Actually, I one of the first videos I posted on TikTok was my Fred Durst impression. Yeah. Ben Stiller. Can I curse? Yeah. Ben Stiller, you my favorite motherfucker.
Yeah. He said motherfucker all the time, even if he was being friendly.
Yeah, literally. Well, that's he has that one song where he just like counts how it's such a like late 90s thing to do, count how many times you could say fuck in a song. That's 36 fucks in this fucked up song, like rhyme.
Well, and I think that's a funny, I was just watching a documentary about the early 2000s and how that was like the kind of like the grossest, kind of sleaziest time. Like
yes.
you had all the Maxim magazine things. You had like that was the era of like Tara Reid.
Yes.
And, I don't know how you look like you're in your like early to mid 30s, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 32. Yeah. So this was like.
So that was like your
the cool dirtbag older brother guys. Yeah. That I was like when I was growing up, I was like, that's who they were. Like they were those people. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had a mullet like that unironically.
Yeah. Very well could have been. Yeah.
My dirty secret is that when I was a kid, I had a rat tail.
Oh, there you go.
And my mom would braid it.
Where are you from?
I'm from Missouri. I'm from Kansas City.
There you go.
Yeehaw, yeah. So what prompted me to reach out to your people? You have people now. So that's how big you are. You have people. I reached out to your people because we just did an episode, a Lumineers episode.
Yeah, there you go.
And we were talking to Jeremiah from the Lumineers. And if you don't know Jeremiah at home, he's the guy with the fedora and the suspenders and he looks like a bootlegger from the 1920s.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to be like kind of funny and kind of goofy, and I'm like trying to be a smart ass, and I go, so you is that fedora? You get the fedoras like off the rack, or do you get especially? I'm kind of being a smart ass, and he gives me this straight ass. He's like, well, my wife's from Italy, and when we got married, she took me to a specialty shop in Italy, and they make them by hand, and he gave me this really sincere, and then I felt so bad. Yeah. I felt so guilty. So I'm sorry, Jeremiah. You're great.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny is like that kind of like 2011, 2012 stomp folk kind of stuff. I think they're very aware of it. You
sure.
look at the that Mumford and Sons video they had with like Jason Bateman and those guys. They're like completely aware of it.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite moments when I was interviewing Jeremiah, he was like, I'm not some hillbilly all shucks kind of guy, because he was like talking about like the cool bands he listened to. And so that's why I think it's funny is like when a band becomes popular, they almost have to like defend their street cred.
Yeah. Well, also it's like, any genre of music, let alone that one, if it has like a very definitive, clearly defined sound with a lot of identifiable tropes, which is something that I tap into in a lot of my music, let alone this one, We Will Never Die, like it always has a moment where, like about 10 to 15 years after, where it just sort of becomes passé, and it has nothing to do with the inherent value of the genre. Like if you were a Beatles fan in 1978, you were not cool. If you were an Elvis fan in 1964, you were not cool. It doesn't mean that Elvis and the Beatles aren't cool. It just means like, and so I could say with any genre of music, like now I feel like the Fred Durst, Limp Bizkit, nu metal kind of sound is sort of like being re-embraced, whereas like if you were listening to that in 2012, you were like a gross dirtbag. So it's not necessary. It's just like
wearing cargo jeans are kind of cool now.
Yeah.
Or baggy cargo jeans.
Yeah.
What's up with this
exactly. That's sort of like, if you go to Bushwick, like people are dressing like corn. Like.
Yeah. We're in Silver Lake right now, which is
exactly. That's the Bushwick.
Ground zero for the cool guy in the Carhartt and the Bass Pro hat.
Right.
And that's real. Like my parents own a construction company back home in Kansas City, and when I'm like out and about here, it looks like I'm on a job site. I'm like, looks like guys are about to bring out get the pencil out and start measuring something.
Yeah, but their nails are perfectly manicured.
Yeah, and they're coming from Erewhon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
$40 cauliflower. Yeah.
I don't. I want to do an Erewhon challenge where you $20 to make a whole meal. And
yeah.
I wonder if
I
you
think
could do
you
it.
should do it. Yeah, I'm rooting for you.
So I'm walking distance to Erewhon right here, and I go for their bougie energy drinks. They have a whole wall of like the mushroom infused or whatever. Are you a caffeine? Are you like an energy drink, coffee person?
I'm a coffee. I'm a big
or
load
just
up
natural energy right here. What we're getting.
I load up in the coffee to like sort of, rev the engine, and then I'm off and running. But I do need a bit of a rev in the morning. So yeah, I'm a coffee guy, but not throughout the day. Can't do energy drinks. That makes me, it's like
yeah. What's the not ginkgo biloba, but there's another kind of energy thing that I've been into, like I've been doing like the probiotic thing.
Oh, word.
Yeah. Chad'll pick it up.
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
I still haven't been to Erewhon though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's wild because people make fun of it for being bougie. And I remember when we had, speaking to Carter Vale, because he lives around here too, and I was like, "Do you go to Erewhon?" He's like, "Fuck no." Yeah. He like turned into Fred Durst.
Fuck no! Yeah. Fuck you! Fuck Erewhon! Suck my dick, Erewhon! Yeah.
But it's funny because when I go there, people make fun of it. But in New York, like the bougie stuff, people are kind of ashamed of doing the bougie stuff. Like if you shop at Dean and DeLuca, or you don't want to tell people, "Hey, I'm going to buy fish at whatever."
Yeah, you have to rep your local bodega. Your bodega.
You don't want to like show off.
And get a piece of plastic in your sandwich. Yeah, that's that's a sign of authenticity.
Yeah, a cat should assist in the making your sandwich.
Yeah. There should be rats all over the honey buns. Yeah.
But here, when I go to Erewhon, people are taking selfies with their like strawberry Kylie Jenner shakes and stuff, and I'm like, they're proudly repping Erewhon.
I'll have to see it for myself.
When it comes to like the comedy music thing, were there people like, I think of like Garfunkel and Oates and Flight of the Conchords and whatever. Are you into that kind of thing before you started this, or?
Yeah, totally. I mean, Flight of the Conchords, definitely. I grew up like loved that show, loved those guys, like loved their albums. So yeah, they were huge. Really, probably my biggest influence on the comedy music side, though, would be like Christopher Guest, who did Spinal Tap, and A Mighty Wind is like my favorite movie.
The difference between that and what I was talking about is that there's a musical authenticity to Spinal Tap, to A Mighty Wind,
right?
Where you want the music to, and that's like Flight of the Conchords had that as well, where even after you've gotten the joke, it's still a good song.
Yeah, So yeah,
like I think that song. Most Beautiful Girl in the Room is a good song, even you take away the joke.
Yeah, totally.
So you've got this mullet going on. Can you give us a preview or how you kind of workshop your characters in this way?
Yeah, so I do say, like, anytime anyone who knows me knows, like, if you see me and I've gone through a radical physical transformation, either in my body or hair or fashion, it's for a bit. It's like I'm always like really committing. So this hair, I think I can reveal. I had a song on my first album, the last one, called Planet of the Bass, with this character DJ Crazy Times. And so I'm doing a follow-up on this new one, but essentially DJ Crazy Times, that song was like a 90s Eurodance parody. And so for this new one, we're doing, he's going back to the 80s. So this is my 80s Italo disco kind of look.
You got some cool sunglasses to go with it, I'm sure.
I had some good jewelry, and I had like a pink three-piece suit.
You kind of sound like like a WWE wrestler from the 90s too. That's kind of the vibe.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah,
like a Bret Hart kind of thing going on.
There you go.
Yeah, Italian Bret Hart.
Italian Bret Hart, sign me up. Yeah, I'll play that character.
That's a very that's a very niche.
How
long does it take from the spark of a character to actually making something with it?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten, especially over the past few years, as I've done, the good thing about doing stuff online is that, it really encourages you and me, one, to put out a lot of stuff. And so with that in mind, I've gotten much better of like, as soon as an idea comes to me throughout the course of the day, I'll like immediately write it down. So I have a note on my phone that's many years old and thousands of ideas, 98% of which are trash. But like, I'm really good at like, as soon as I think of something, writing it down. So yeah, it'll be that. And then usually when I'm in like a really good like writing mode, I'll sit down in the morning after I've had like 3 cups of coffee and just go through my notes and try to find the needle in the haystack.
So you have kind of a workflow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've sort of developed it more over the years.
You don't strike me as sort of like a partying, coke snorting kind of guy.
Not all the time.
Yeah. You know,
not every day.
As I was looking at it, I was like, with the mullet and the cap.
I know.
Well, you also kind of have like a Theo Von thing going on right now.
I know. My mom, I don't think my mom knew who he was, but she saw some article in the New York Times like, oh, you look like this person. Yeah.
How are your parents reacting to the notoriety?
Oh, they love it. They love it. You know,
they talk about to your friends like, have you seen our son? Our son's new.
Oh yeah, exactly. My parents are like New York Jews, so yeah, like they're like, oh, our son Kyle, we did the show with the Jonas Brothers, and yeah. Have you heard? Did you see him on? Actually, it's so funny. Like they. Are
you at Queens or Long Island?
Westchester, actually.
Westchester.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed.
Yeah, no, it's all. I was just talking to someone today, like. Jewish New York goes out beyond the 5 boroughs. It's like, it extends out to Long Island, New Jersey. It's all, but
it fans out.
Yeah, truly, yeah.
When I was growing up, I was a theater kid. I did forensics, competitive acting, and speaking, and all this kind of stuff. I played sports. My parents were really supportive. I did plays. My dad would go to every night, and now they don't give a shit about this stuff. But I wonder if my mom watches this. My mom's watching right now on YouTube, but she just does it to kind of. She lives in Missouri. So it's more of like just to see.
How's my son doing? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
No, my parents watch everything, like anything. I'm always surprised at the things they see. Sometimes I think they've maybe they've zoned out a little bit, and then they're like, I saw the interview you did, and so yeah, they're sort of eagle-eyed.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah,
do they have any kind of performance?
Yeah, actually, my brother, less on the performance side, more he helps me a lot with filming and editing. So he's a video editor and a really talented writer. It's amazing. And he, better than anyone else in the world, like understands my humor and like gets what I'm going for.
Shares the gene pool, that helps.
Yes, exactly, and a well of references.
So is he the camera guy on your videos, or
a lot of the times? Yeah. So essentially, with the like short form clips, if you see a video of mine that's shot very well and edited well, that's my brother. If not, it's just me and my girlfriend, like bopping around.
Do you use a real camera? Is it all iPhone?
All iPhone for the short form stuff. For
the music videos, the real music videos.
Yeah, exactly.
How much do you care about YouTube proper? Because a lot of your stuff comes from obviously shorts, but longer YouTube videos, your full music videos. How much effort goes into that? You don't consider yourself a YouTuber per se. It's kind of a weird.
I've sort of developed into one over the last year, and it's really grown in a really great way over the past year. But yeah, I put a lot of effort into the full official music videos because I think so much of what I do in being like the comedy that I do with on the music side is like genre parody. And so the visual element is such a key component to the whole thing. So it's not just about hearing the song. It's about actually seeing, you can't, they go hand in hand. So I put a lot of effort into the long form music videos. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're not, how much of like a comedy nerd are you? Because everyone he talks about being a comedy nerd's kind of in fashion now.
Sure,
to watch 1,000. And do you have your own podcast? Everyone has their own podcast.
I don't have my own podcast.
What is wrong with you?
I know, right? Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of people who
would there be enough people to have like a musical comedy podcast? Like enough people who do sort of.
Yeah, could be. I know people out there who have like reviewed my stuff who do like have like YouTube shows devoted to like comedy music reviewing and stuff. It's still a very small world, so I feel like we all know each other, all the people in the comedy music world. and
New York comedy is different than LA comedy
in
terms of the way it is. It's very cliquish here. It's cliquish everywhere, I'm sure, but it's weird, different vibes. And I've been kind of a periphery comedy person. I have friends, and I did a thing with Rachel Feinstein a few years ago, but I'd like to do more of it. But yeah, it's just a different vibe. Do you do any comedy stuff out while you're here, or is it strictly a press situation?
This trip, I'm not really doing anything. One, I didn't bring my guitar, so it's hard for me to like get up. But it's a shorter trip. But a lot of times when I've come out here, I will do shows, hop on shows. I was out here. It was nice. The last time I was here, I did my show for the Netflix is a Joke festival, and so I was here and got to hop on some other shows, and yeah, it's always fun. But yeah, there's definitely one thing. There are a lot of differences between the New York and LA comedy scene. One thing that I really like is that about New York is that geographically you're just able to you could do 3 sets in a night at least, you know what I mean? Boom, 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 boom.
And there's whole episodes of Seinfeld built around that, about
Right.
him doing multiple sets on the same night.
Yes, exactly.
And here you got to drive from Burbank to Burbank's the far past, but Burbank into downtown.
Santa Monica,
Santa Monica
you're here.
Yeah. It feels like there's a lot of stuff, a lot of comedy stuff like right on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of stuff like in the Burbank, sort of by the studios area.
Yeah, I've done a show because I've only really started coming out here more over the past few years, but I've definitely been out a few times. So I've done shows in Santa Monica, obviously, because my background is in the Brooklyn comedy scene. So I do end up doing a lot of shows here in Silver Lake. I did stuff at the Elysian, which is not too far.
Yeah, have you ever done Whammy?
No.
There's like a retro video store called Whammy.
Oh, cool.
And I did an episode. I do 2 shows. I do this show and then I do a show for Alt Press.
Oh, cool.
And we did an interview with Chappelle Lacey. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
But he's in a hardcore punk band.
Yeah.
But he did a show at Whammy, and it was like 8 or 10 people, and they were workshopping things. It was a lot of comedy, like sitcom writers, sort of like
Sweet.
trying out material. But it's like a retro video store.
Oh,
And
cool.
they have like VHS tapes everywhere. But there's like a lot of cool things around here. So
Totally.
Yeah.
It's always fun. Yeah.
So moving off of this, and then we'll before we go, the next step, obvious step is TV, movies, commercials, that kind of thing. Where do you stand on that? Have you done much of that?
Yeah, I mean, as from the last album, I've sort of started doing more of it. Like, it was very cool with the, my song "Plan of the Bass." I got to be in an episode of The Simpsons, which was like really cool. But definitely trying to do more of that, develop my own projects. But it's kind of, so I had the first album, and essentially everything on that first album, those were songs that I'd been performing live in New York for many, many years. And when I got off tour, I wasn't necessarily, I didn't know what I was going to do next. And then this next album, I just started writing and just sort of fell into doing another album, which I love and was super excited about. But I definitely want to do, that's been my focus lately, but I definitely want to do more acting, developing film and TV projects.
Yeah, I feel like you would crush After Midnight, At Midnight.
Oh yeah,
that
would be fun. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that you haven't booked like Seth Meyers or something to do like the.
Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully in the future, it was a
Seth watches this, by the way.
Yeah, come on, Seth, where? Yeah.
He's always DMing me and wanting to be on the show, and I'm just like,
yeah, he keeps DMing you like, have Kyle won't respond to me. I'm trying to get Kyle. Where is he?
Yeah. I'm that guy that like no one knows, but I'm the guy making stuff. I'm like I'm sort of on the what do you call it, like the shadow government or whatever.
Yeah. The deep state of music.
The deep state of music.
You concocted the Shine Down Live to Tell cover. I mean,
Yeah.
that's your claim to fame. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have you been going to auditions? Like, how serious is the acting stuff, or are you just kind of dicking around right now?
No, yeah, I'm taking it really seriously, and I do auditions and definitely trying to do more of it. So, but it's also been nice in that, like, because I am able to create all my own stuff. Essentially, like, my social media is like the Kyle Gordon show. So
Yeah.
I get to write.
You got a broad city kind of thing going on.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. But I mean, where people know your resume is right there. Your reel
yes,
is
yes,
right
yes,
there.
yeah, totally, right. And it's like, and I can be sort of a control freak about the stuff, so it's so much more fun, and it's so immediate. Like, it's so much more fun to me to like do what it's very fun for me to do what I do, because I write, shoot, edit, star in it. Like, I get to do it all.
Yeah. I feel like you'd be like an FX development pilot would be like your
That would be
your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So
sign me up.
Yeah, we'll in here on your summer plans because we got we're in March now. So what are you looking for? What's the summer? Are you touring? You filming something? What's going on?
Yeah, I am really excited. So the album comes out April 4th. Kyle Gordon is wonderful. Follow up to my first album, Kyle Gordon is great. And
is wonderful better than great?
We'll see. We shall see. Yeah. And then I'm touring off the album. So this is going to be my biggest tour yet. It's going to be crazy. I'm going all across North America.
You got a bus, a van, private jet.
Yeah, exactly. I got the Led Zeppelin jet with the Kyle Gordon across it. Yeah. So I'm going everywhere. I'll be back in LA in May. But really excited. I have a full band and it's like, I'm really happy with where the show is. It's like a concert. It's like a really high energy, funny concert.
What's the merch? You got some Kyle Gordon merch?
Oh yeah. My favorite.
Do you have character-driven merch? Like Carter has the Dirt Man shirts and stuff.
Yeah. So I have some DJ Crazy Times merch. I should do more like character-specific merch.
Yeah.
My favorite is my mom actually designed because she's like a really talented artist and cartoonist. Designed sort of like School of Rock style bumper stickers that say Kyle Gordon is my close personal friend.
Oh,
so those are my favorite.
Nice. Oh, so you have visual art in the family too.
Yeah.
Is your great grandfather Al Hirsch?
Al Hirsch. I love Al Hirsch. Yeah.
I was going to see that was a deep cut because you've been getting all the deep cut. You like a
Al Hirschfeld? Do you mean?
No, Al Hirsch. He was the guy who was it Hirschfeld?
Yeah, with the line drawings.
Oh, it's Hirschfeld.
Hirschfeld.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to be like Mr. Jeopardy trivia guy.
No,
my face.
No, I don't. No.
Yeah.
He did that Aerosmith cover. Yeah, the what's it called? Color in the Line. But yeah, he's like my favorite cartoonist.
Yeah. Or R. Crumb.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I love the deep. You got a deep pop culture knowledge, and that's where those characters come from. Like the old timey baseball guy, you don't know that unless you like know.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
And so I like to say my knowledge is an inch deep, a mile wide. So I know a little bit about a lot of things, but it's it's a broad depth of knowledge.
Yeah. You should do like a 1940s transatlantic screwball comedy voice.
Yeah.
Like the Cary Grant, like, oh, don't go there.
Or like,
no, whoa.
The Lone Ranger.
That kind of like half British, like that kind of Katharine Hepburn accent.
Yeah,
I love that.
totally.
I love that'd be a great.
I've dipped into it a little bit, but I definitely need to
do
more.
you have? I would imagine there's some characters that are like you're like this is too obscure, like this is too niche.
Yes.
Nobody's gonna get it.
It's a really good point because I find when I'm too nerdy about something, it actually is not to my benefit because, you get hung up on details that the average viewer doesn't give a shit about.
It's an interesting place to be because you got to have this weird thing where you want to have like the Eric Andre weirdness, but you don't want to go so bizarre that it's like performance art.
Yes, and that's something I think about a lot because it is important to me for like my stuff to be both precise but also like accessible. So I don't want to get to, like, I think too often, especially in the like any alternative art, let alone comedy, it's like you can get into this place where it's like either you get what I'm doing and I'm a genius or you don't get what I'm doing and you're the idiot,
like the Andy Kaufman thing. Yeah.
And like, or like at its worst, it can sort of delve into that where like you never take responsibility to actually like serve the audience something that they can enjoy, you know?
And then you got this like 5% minority who's like, he's a genius.
There you go.
And you just,
Right. But I think that can sort of be a cheat code to not actually work on your stuff.
Yeah. And then it's like, what is it even,
Right.
I've gotten into those. There's on YouTube, there's people who like break down comedy and like why it's funny, why it's not. I do. but I try not to get too far down that rabbit hole. I was going to ask you something else. I forgot what it was. Oh yeah. Well, I think that, like there's got to be a sweet spot that you hit. Like the Euro dance thing is like perfect because it's niche, but it's also like everyone kind of recognizes it. And so there must be like a feeling where it just like clicks in where you're like, okay, this is like just niche enough.
I mean, that's what I'm going for. That's what I'm always trying to do. Because also when it's just niche enough, ideally I'm tapping into something that really hasn't been is new. It's something new
Yeah,
to
like
address.
the people don't understand, people who were too young during the time, like that Eurodance thing was huge. You had like the What Is Love and Ace of Base and all that kind of stuff.
Eiffel 65.
Eiffel 65.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it really Eiffel 65 was on the later end of it.
Yes,
but
right.
it was like a very big deal.
Totally.
So you found this thing where people weren't lampooning it, but it was still popular enough that people would. Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like the Mount Rushmore or like the perfect example of that I think of when a perfect example is Austin Powers in that you don't have to be super knowledgeable about like the swinging London scene in the early 60s but if you know about that world, you're like, oh my God, this is genius.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you can still be like, oh, I kind of get this. Like I have an ambient sense of like what he's going for. So it's like both accessible and also like really specific. And so that's what I try to do with my stuff.
Right. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah.
And congratulations on all the success. And I'm sure you'll be doing interviews on much bigger stages with comfortable couches and going like, well, you know what, Jimmy? It's funny you say that.
All good. No, I'll be back here. I'll do what is it? I'll do Jimmy Kimmel and then I'll come here right after.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.